Run. Marcus grabbed the boy's hand and sprinted toward his car. Behind them, the rain hammered against Marcus Bennett's umbrella as he stood frozen, staring at the small boy crouched beside his daughter's grave. The child couldn't have been more than 6 years old, his clothes torn and filthy, his bare feet caked with mud. But what made Marcus's heart stop wasn't the boy's appearance. It was the photograph clutched in his trembling hands, a photo of Marcus and Emily, laughing together at her high school graduation. A photo Marcus had never seen before. "Who are you?" Marcus's voice came out harsher than he intended. "What are you doing here?" The boy's head snapped up, revealing tear-streaked cheeks and eyes wide with terror. He scrambled backward, nearly tripping over Emily's headstone. "I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just wanted to say goodbye." Marcus's anger evaporated instantly. He stepped closer, lowering his umbrella to shield the child from the rain. "It's okay. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm Emily's father." The boy's expression shifted from fear to something else, recognition, perhaps, or hope. "Mr. Bennett? You're really Emily's dad?" "Yes." Marcus knelt down, his expensive suit soaking through in the wet grass. "How did you know my daughter?" "She was my friend." The boy's voice broke. "My only friend. She helped me for 6 months. She gave me food when I was hungry. She let me sleep in her car when it was cold. She said." He wiped his nose with a grimy hand. "She said if anything happened to her, I should find you." Marcus felt like he'd been punched in the stomach. 6 months? Emily had been helping this homeless child for 6 months, and he'd never known? What kind of father was he? "What's your name?" "Daniel." "Daniel, where are your parents?" The boy's face went pale. "My mom disappeared when I was 4. My dad." He looked around nervously, as if expecting someone to materialize from the shadows between the tombstones. "My dad is a bad man. Emily was helping me hide from him." A black SUV suddenly appeared at the cemetery gates. Marcus's instincts, honed by years of cutthroat business deals, screamed danger. "Daniel, did anyone follow you here?" "They always follow me." Daniel's voice was barely a whisper. "They always find me." The SUV's doors opened. 2 men in dark suits stepped out, scanning the cemetery. One of them pointed directly at Daniel. "Run." Marcus grabbed the boy's hand and sprinted toward his car. Behind them, he heard shouts and the sound of running footsteps. His Mercedes was parked 50 yards away. It might as well have been a mile. Daniel stumbled, and Marcus scooped him up, the child weighing almost nothing in his arms. They reached the car. Marcus practically threw Daniel into the passenger seat, fumbling with his keys. The men were 20 yards away. 15. 10. The engine roared to life. Marcus slammed his foot on the accelerator, tires squealing as they shot forward. In the rearview mirror, he watched the men sprint back to their SUV. His heart pounded as he wove through the narrow cemetery roads, taking a sharp turn that made Daniel cry out and grip the dashboard. "Hold on." Marcus burst through the cemetery gates and onto the main road, cutting off a delivery truck. Horns blared. He didn't care. The SUV was behind them, closing fast. Marcus had driven this route 1,000 times in the 3 months since Emily's death. He knew every side street, every shortcut. He took a hard right into an alley, then a quick left, then another right, zigzagging through the city until finally, blessedly, the SUV disappeared from his mirror. Daniel was crying silently, his whole body shaking. Marcus kept driving, his hands trembling on the wheel, until they reached his penthouse building. The doorman's eyes widened at the sight of the filthy child, but Marcus waved him off. "Not now, Stephen." Inside his apartment, Daniel stood in the marble foyer like a wild animal trapped in a cage, eyes darting to every corner. Marcus had never felt more aware of his wealth. The crystal chandeliers, the original artwork, the floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. To Daniel, it must have looked like another planet. "You're safe here," Marcus said gently. "Let me get you some clean clothes and something to eat. Would you like to take a shower?" Daniel nodded, still not speaking. Marcus showed him to the guest bathroom, found some of Emily's old clothes that might fit, and stood outside the door listening to the water run, trying to process what had just happened. His daughter, His distant, busy daughter, whom he'd barely known these last few years, had been secretly helping a homeless child. Living a double life he knew nothing about. The guilt was crushing. While Daniel cleaned up, Marcus returned to the foyer and examined the photograph more closely. On the back, in Emily's handwriting, Daniel Hayes, protect him. Hayes. The name tugged at something in his memory. He pulled out his phone and typed Daniel Hayes missing child into the search engine. His blood turned to ice. The first result was a news article from 2 years ago. FBI manhunt continues for Victor Hayes, suspected child trafficker. Marcus's hands shook as he scrolled through article after article. Victor Hayes wasn't just a criminal, he was a monster. Linked to dozens of missing children. Suspected in multiple murders. A ghost who vanished whenever the authorities got close. And Daniel was his son. The bathroom door opened. Daniel emerged wearing Emily's old NYU sweatshirt, which hung on him like a dress. His hair was clean now, revealing a shock of dark curls. He looked at Marcus with eyes far too old for his young face. You found out, didn't you? Daniel said quietly. About my dad. Marcus nodded, not trusting his voice. Emily found out too. That's why she was helping me. Daniel walked to the window, pressing his small hand against the glass. I ran away from foster care 6 months ago. I couldn't tell them what I saw, they wouldn't believe me. But Emily believed me. What did you see, Daniel? The boy turned, and Marcus saw tears streaming down his face. I saw my dad hurt another kid. A girl. She was crying and begging, and he just... Daniel's voice broke. He just made her stop crying forever. I was hiding in the closet. He didn't know I was there. When he left, I ran. I've been running ever since. Marcus crossed the room and pulled Daniel into his arms. The boy collapsed against him, sobbing in a way that sounded like it came from the depths of his soul. It's okay, Marcus whispered, knowing it wasn't okay, knowing nothing would ever be okay again. I've got you. I won't let anyone hurt you. That's what Emily said. Daniel pulled back, looking up at Marcus with desperate hope. But they killed her, didn't they? It wasn't an accident. My dad found out she was helping me, and he killed her. The words hung in the air like a death sentence. Marcus had suspected, in the dark corners of his grief-stricken mind, that Emily's car accident had been too convenient, too perfectly timed. But hearing it confirmed, hearing that his daughter had died because she'd been brave enough to protect an innocent child, made something fundamental shift inside him. Did Emily ever mention investigating something? Marcus asked. Did she tell you she was gathering evidence? Daniel nodded. She said she was building a case. She said once she had enough proof, we'd go to the FBI together, and I'd be safe forever. He wiped his eyes. She kept everything on her laptop. She said it was hidden somewhere safe, somewhere even you didn't know about. And then he found it. Behind a row of mystery novels, a loose panel in the wall. His fingers pried it open, and there it was, Emily's laptop, covered in stickers and doodles. Marcus's hands shook as he opened it, half expecting it to be password protected. But the screen lit up immediately, opening to a folder labeled simply Daniel. What he found made him sick. Hundreds of files. Photos of men entering and leaving warehouses. Spreadsheets tracking money transfers. Audio recordings of phone conversations. Video footage of children being loaded into unmarked vans. And names, God, so many names. Politicians. Police officers. Businessmen. Judges. People Marcus had met at charity galas, whose hands he'd shaken, whose donations he'd accepted for his own foundation. And at the center of it all, Victor Hayes. Emily had documented everything. 6 months of investigation, 6 months of putting herself in danger, and she'd never said a word to him. Because why would she? Marcus had barely been home. He'd missed her last 3 birthdays because of business trips. When had he ever given her reason to trust him with something this important? A video file caught his eye, dated 2 weeks before her death. Marcus clicked it. Emily's face filled the screen, and Marcus's breath caught. She looked tired, scared, but determined. Dad, if you're watching this, it means something happened to me. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you what I was doing. I'm sorry I shut you out. But Daniel needed someone, and I couldn't just walk away. She paused, wiping her eyes. He's just a little boy who saw something horrible. He deserves a chance at a normal life. All these kids deserve that. I have enough evidence here to take down Hayes's entire network. But if I'm gone, you need to finish this. Protect Daniel. Please. Be the father I always knew you could be. Something primal surged through Marcus. This child, this brave, broken child his daughter had died protecting, was not going to be taken. Not while Marcus still breathed. He swung the laptop like a weapon, catching the nearest man across the face. The attacker stumbled back, blood streaming from his nose. Run, Daniel. But Daniel couldn't run. The man holding him tightened his grip. Marcus lunged forward, and suddenly everything was chaos. Fists flying, furniture breaking, Daniel screaming. Marcus had never been in a real fight in his life. He was losing badly. A punch to his ribs knocked the wind out of him. Another to his jaw sent him sprawling. Then sirens. Blessed, beautiful sirens. The attackers froze. Hayes's not going to like this, one muttered. They dropped Daniel and bolted for the fire escape, disappearing into the night. Marcus crawled to Daniel, pulling the sobbing child into his arms. Police officers burst through the broken door, guns drawn. And behind them, a woman in an FBI jacket, tall dark hair, sharp eyes that took in everything. "Mr. Bennett," she said. "I'm Special Agent Nicole Chun. Your daughter contacted me 2 weeks before her death." The pieces clicked into place. Emily was working with the FBI. Unofficially. Chun holstered her weapon and knelt beside them. "She came to us with evidence about Hayes's trafficking ring. We told her to back off, let us handle it. But Emily Bennett was stubborn. She kept investigating, kept gathering more evidence." Chen's expression softened. "Her car accident is under investigation. We believe Hayes's people tampered with her brakes." Daniel whimpered, and Marcus held him tighter. "What happens now?" "Now, we finish what your daughter started." Chen nodded toward the laptop still clutched in Marcus's hand. "Is that what I think it is?" Marcus handed it over. Everything. Names, locations, transactions. 6 months of evidence. Chen's eyes widened as she scrolled through the files. "My God. This is enough to take down the entire network." She looked at Daniel. "But we need him. He's the only witness to Hayes's murders. With his testimony and Emily's evidence, we can end this." "No." Marcus pulled Daniel closer. "He's been through enough." "Mr. Bennett, I understand." "You don't understand." Marcus's voice cracked. "My daughter died protecting him. I won't put him in more danger." Daniel's small voice interrupted them. "Emily would want me to be brave." He looked up at Marcus with those impossibly old eyes. "She always said doing the right thing was hard. But that's why it mattered." Chun pulled out her phone. "I'm calling in a tactical team. Hayes has a compound outside the city. If we move fast, we can catch him before he knows we're coming." She looked at Daniel. "You'll be safe. I promise." 3 hours later, Marcus sat in an armored FBI vehicle with Daniel on his lap, watching through bulletproof glass as 50 agents surrounded a warehouse complex. Chen had insisted they stay in the vehicle, well away from the action. Daniel's job was simple: identify the men he recognized from his father's operations. "That's him," Daniel whispered, pointing to a man being led out in handcuffs. He drove the van. And her, she worked in the office. One by one, Daniel identified Hayes's people. And one by one, they were arrested. Then they brought out the children. 12 of them, ranging from 6 to 14, blinking in the floodlights like creatures emerging from caves. Daniel pressed his face against the window, tears streaming. They got them out. Emily saved them. But Hayes himself wasn't among the arrested. Chen's face was grim as she returned to their vehicle. He escaped through a tunnel system. But we found something else. She held up a phone. "Hayes called someone 20 minutes ago. We have the recording." She played it. Hayes's voice, cold and mechanical. "The Bennett situation is handled. The girl's dead. Now get me my son." Another voice responded, "What about the father? Kill him if he gets in the way." Daniel gasped. Marcus felt his rage crystallize into something sharp and focused. Where is he now? We're tracking his phone. He's heading for the Canadian border. Chen paused. Mr. Bennett, we can handle this. No. Marcus looked down at Daniel. He killed my daughter. He's terrorized this child. I need to face him. What Marcus didn't expect was Sarah. She appeared at the FBI checkpoint like a ghost, thin and haunted but alive. Where's my son? She demanded. Where's Daniel? Daniel's scream of joy nearly shattered the windows. Mama! The reunion was violent in its emotion, Sarah sobbing, Daniel clinging to her like she might disappear again. Through her tears, Sarah explained. Hayes kept me prisoner for 2 years. He said if I tried to leave, he'd hurt Daniel. But I escaped 3 months ago. I've been in witness protection, working with the FBI. I have recordings, evidence, everything. She looked at Marcus. Your daughter found me. She helped me get out. She's the reason I'm alive. Chen's phone buzzed. We've got him. Hayes surrendered at a roadblock. He's asking to see his son. The interrogation room was stark and cold. Hayes sat behind reinforced glass, hands shackled to the table. He looked ordinary, middle-aged, thinning hair, tired eyes. Not like a monster. That was the horror of it. Daniel stood between Marcus and Sarah, trembling. Hayes's face crumpled when he saw them. Son. Don't call me that. Daniel's voice was steady. Emily said you were a bad man. She was right. Daniel, I can explain. You killed people. You hurt children. You killed Emily. Daniel's hands balled into fists. She was good. She was trying to help people. And you killed her. Hayes looked at Sarah. Please. I'm still his father. Sarah stepped forward, her voice like steel. You stopped being his father the day you chose evil. Daniel deserves better. He deserves what Emily gave him, hope. She pressed a button on her phone, playing a recording. Hayes's voice filled the room. Take care of the Bennett girl. Make it look like an accident. She knows too much. Hayes's face went gray. He looked at Daniel one last time. I'm sorry, son. I'm so sorry. I forgive you, Daniel said quietly. But I won't forget. And I won't let you hurt anyone else. Hayes confessed to everything. With his testimony, the FBI arrested 15 more traffickers across 6 states. 23 children were rescued and returned to their families. 2 weeks later, Marcus stood at Emily's grave with Daniel and Sarah. The boy placed fresh flowers on the headstone. Thank you, he whispered. Thank you for saving me. Sarah touched Marcus's arm. Daniel asks about you constantly. He needs stability while I recover. He needs a father, Marcus finished. He knelt down to Daniel's level. Your mom and I have been talking. How would you feel about staying with me for a while? We could be a family. Not a normal one, but a real one. Daniel threw his arms around Marcus's neck. Can I call you Dad? Marcus hugged him tight, finally understanding what Emily had known all along, that family wasn't about blood or perfection. It was about showing up. About choosing love over convenience. About being brave enough to protect those who needed it most. Yes, he whispered. You can call me Dad. As they walked away from the grave together, a millionaire who'd lost everything that mattered and found something more precious, a mother reclaiming her life, and a brave little boy who'd survived hell, Marcus felt Emily's presence like sunshine breaking through clouds. His world had collapsed. But from the rubble, something beautiful was being born. If you want more stories filled with danger, love, power, and heart-stopping twists like this, make sure you subscribe to Primestry Hub. Turn on notifications so you never miss the next chapter, because trust me, what comes next will shake everything they thought they knew.